So this is the new unit from Aldi, the Taurus Titanium 375 watt belt and disc sander. This is the second unit they've sold. Well, second I know of. This is the first one which was sold last year for about the same price. Now you'll notice this one is blue, this one is red. I could stop there at the differences, but what that means is that this has a 1-year warranty, this has a 3. And generally the blue tools from Aldi are of poorer quality than those that are in red. That was handled by some random third-party company I've not heard of, whereas this is handled through Shapak, much like their plunge saw that I have done a previous review on. Now, Shapak sell a very similar model, has basically the exact same specs, just different colouring, different badge on it, and that goes for about $200 Australian. This was $129. Ryobi also produced the exact same unit, except in their hideous fluoro yellowy greeny colour, and that's about $180, $190 at Bunnings. So anything that applies to either of those two models also applies to this. So I'll compare the two models as well as go through the feature list of this. First up, this weighs considerably more than the blue unit. This has got a cast iron base all around here, whereas this is just relatively thin metal, bounces around easily. This has got a bit more heft to it. Although they're both 375 watt motors, the one in this unit is considerably more powerful, seems to have a lot more torque, and the belt and disc seem not to slow down half as much. Faster on the disc here is nice because it is a small disc, it's only 150mm. A 200 or 300mm disc would be much nicer, but you get what you pay for. So that means adding a curve to a piece of work, just getting it nice and flat, that sort of thing. It's a lot easier and quicker on this one, even at the same grip, because this is spinning faster. Obvious difference is the table height is lower. The power switch is on the front here instead of around the side. Around the side is quite inconvenient, I found. The table is a better quality table. It is a bit more rigid, has less play in it. This tended to pull out too easily. The interesting thing is that the miter bar on the old unit is actually a little bit better in some ways. They're both aluminium with a plastic gauge on it, but this is the T-track style, so once you slot that in, you can't lift it up. It does have a bit of play in it, but you can't lift it up, whereas this one you drop it in and you can lift it up. Similar amount of play to it. It probably doesn't matter a great deal. This is not a precision instrument. So in terms of what's good and bad on this, as I said, the Ryobi model I've found reviews on, and anything bad on that or good on that can be found on this. So starting from the top, you've got actually a pretty nice guide. This is fairly stable. It's over this table bit, whereas the old model wasn't, so that you can jam it up there and still get good pressure across there. These are now Velcro discs, which is much nicer than the glue-on style. This lets you change the belt by releasing tension, but there's no tensioning knob. So if you find that this slips because you're applying too much pressure or whatever, there's nothing to do to fix that. This will adjust the tracking, so you can make that go back and forth if it's not centered. And power buttons. This isn't the greatest table. It is better than what they had. You can see it's got the zero clearance, so that's all great until you change the angle. Then you need to grab the included Allen key, which I've misplaced, go me, and adjust a screw at the back here, which is a bit blind to see, to bring that back into level. It's not a great system, but again, you get what you pay for. One thing that does annoy me is that there is no detent to indicate zero, so you can actually tilt it back negatively, which is frustrating, as well as the lining that up straight across that surface can be a little bit difficult. End of the day, I don't think it's going to affect too much. This is more a rough shaping tool than anything. Dust extraction port, this will fit a standard shop vac. As you can see from the dust on here, it doesn't do a fantastic job. I did run it a bit without the vacuum on. It's better in that it does have some dust collection. My vacuum is not a great quality one and possibly doesn't have enough suction to make real sense of having dust extraction on it. Right, so that's the front side covered, and the back side, I suppose. Flipping around to the back, you've got an unidentified port. Oh, probably for the motor gauge to sit in. How's that? Port for the Allen key, which I have found. Now, if you're wanting to tilt this table up, you need to remove this guard, which has got these two hex screws there. And I think you undo that, maybe. It's a bit hit and miss. I'm going to turn these machines on and you can see what the volume level is. Hopefully my camera's auto gain control won't kick in and that won't make it too quiet. I'll start off with the new machine. As I said, buttons on the front are much nicer. Motor's relatively quiet. It's mostly the sound coming from the belt rubbing. That seems to be most of the noise. Now you can still hear the belt in this one, but it's much quieter as it's going at half the speed. Most of the noise actually comes from vibration and run out in the shaft of the disc.